I think I want to say a few things that spark some, not curiosity, but I guess thought. When do you sit in silence, or do you ever sit in silence without any distractions? And I believe that maybe in some areas of the world there may be complete silence, but there's never complete silence where I live. There's always something, creatures or animals or bugs or cars or the wind or storm. And those type of sounds I consider silence sometimes, because it's not something that necessarily distracts me as much as other, not artificial, I don't even know why I thought that first, but just like, for example, I believe yesterday I went to go visit some friends, but prior I woke up and my stomach was really hurting me, and that was like kind of overstimulating, and I was kind of trying to help soothe that. And I just have moved downstairs, so I'm in a different room now. I'm trying to organize things, so when I don't have everything organized, it's kind of overwhelming. And I know it will be organized soon, it just takes time and effort. But my brothers, and I believe one of my brothers had a friend over as well, they were all on their phones and watching maybe some kind of social media. And if one of them has their volume higher, then they kind of all, so they can all hear what their own devices saying or whatever. And that was incredibly overwhelming. And all I wanted was to go outside and sit and hear some more natural sounds, and sounds that are just so much less overwhelming. And I think it's really powerful. Even though the sun was terribly hot and it was really humid outside, it was a lot more comforting than hearing all those devices, especially first thing in the morning. It's really hard sometimes, but I think it's important to try and find those moments where you can just sit and not only feel those feelings that you're feeling that are often avoided with the hustle of the daily life, but also just kind of sit in that gratitude of like, wow, like I'm living. It might not be the most amazing world, but I also think it's perspective. And of course everyone has different situations and things happening to them, and sometimes it gets really hard. But again, no matter how good or bad your life is, you're still going to experience the good and the bad. And I think perspective is a big part in that, and seeing like others do have it worse. But I also think that it's important to have the balance in that, with also having compassion for something you may be experiencing. Maybe others do have it worse, but you also are experiencing maybe some kind of suffering or pain. Like, you're for sure allowed to feel those feelings, even if it sounds a little dumb. I think for a little bit of my life, I think that between the ages of like 15 to 17, off and on, anytime I would feel a certain way, I would invalidate it because I knew other people had it worse. But where that leads is kind of like almost resentment towards those people, because they have it worse, they're allowed to feel those things. But because I don't have it as bad, depending on the situation, depending on who I'm talking about, and I'm not thinking of anything specific, I would be like, man, like if I had it worse, then I would be able to feel those feelings, and I would be able to sit in that like discomfort and Like, I would be allowed to do that, but because I don't have it as bad, I can't. And I realized that that's just suppressing things, and I think it's important for you to process those feelings. And often this is a problem I see. Maybe not a problem, more or less, maybe just it is, just exists. But I often see that people are too busy to process their feelings. Like, I just don't have the time to, because if I start processing them, because they've built up so much, that I just won't be able to stop crying or sitting in that, whatever the feeling is. That's why I find it so powerful and important to, when you feel a feeling coming up, you can recognize it, but I think it's important to try not to like intellectualize it and kind of just let it be, kind of just like flow through you. Maybe it has to sit there longer than others, and sometimes maybe it's like, just kind of one of those, everything's situational, and that's why you have your own journey, and life is life, like, figuring those things out. No one has it figured out, but it's a journey, as cheesy as it sounds. But again, with the silence, going back to that, I also think it's so important to take time from electronics. I think my way is like, even if I'm actively on my phone, it's more of like something like this. And I'm not saying I don't go on my phone. I for sure do, but I've definitely dialed it back. I try not to be on my phone as much, and it's hard, especially like craving connection with people when I'm more of an introvert, and I don't like texting. I prefer calling, but I also don't really like calling. I prefer to be in person. It's very interesting. I'm a very silly person in that aspect, but I think where I'm getting at is, find a time in your day where you're able to sit in silence, whatever silence means to you. Doesn't have to be that by that exact definition, but the quietude, sit in that, as well as the solitude, and sit there, whether it's for 2 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 30 minutes, however long that is for you. Do that so you're able to take on your day without being like overstimulated or overwhelmed with life immediately. I think it's very powerful. As well as doing that, right now I am taking a break from social media besides YouTube. I don't really consider YouTube a social media, but I do watch some pretty cool lectures on YouTube right now, and it kind of helps. There's certain videos that help inspire me, but I also try not to spend all my time doing that, because I could be doing things as well, like, for example, making this video, which is gonna get me to where I want to be. Anyhow, thank you for listening, and you can, I know this is at the end of the video, but sometimes when I don't really have a whole bunch of time, but I really want to hear what the person's saying or gain information about something, I'll put the video on like 2 times speed or 1.5 or something like that. So if you want to do that, if you need to do that, do it. Today I feel like I didn't really speak very fast. I'm trying to work on that. I think by speaking fast can often lead to you sounding almost like insecure in a way, and I'm not insecure so about what I'm saying. So just kind of being more grounded in my words. And obviously, like, my go-to is speaking really fast because I just want to get all the information out. But if I'm working on grounding that, then I think that the people that want to hear me will choose to hear me, and the people that don't. And that's okay. Won't. But thank you so much for listening. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, or night.